Hello beautiful and lovely gamers, my name is Jonal, and today we are taking a look at how to beat cheesecom, something that you guys have requested a lot. It's been asked when I Twitch stream, it's been asked on the Discord, on this channel in general, and it's on the to-do list. So, with no further ado guys, let's just jump right into this. Now in theory the best way to beat cheesecom is high damage comps against it. Now cheesecom I'm going to define as a Torbjorn and a Bastion in a combination with an Orisa or a Rhine. A lot of time you see a Symmetra or a Junkrat being added to this equation, but a lot of time that is what I will now use as definitions for like the cheese comp. So there will always be either a Bastion or Torbjorn, and there will also be an Orisa or a Reinhardt. And then there might just be a hint of a Junkrat or a Symmetra, which I'll just add as kind of bonus point for these hero picks. That said, normally the best way to deal with this is very high damage output, spam damage, and where you can, and then you kind of be aggressive in your initialization. You don't want to sit around and wait for a long time. Therefore, you don't want to get stuck in these long poke wars. Because that's exactly what cheesecoms are good for. They're very good for dealing in these long poke wars and kind of outliving the enemy team. These poke wars applying a lot of pressure, making a lot of people weak, get those picks and then doing staggering, which is the irritating part. You want to be able to have really quickly just remove all kind of barriers and then do an aggressive push with a lot of DPS to kind of out damage and just out nuke your opponents. And that's what we're going to take a look at how you're going to do. Now, you want to know the difference between an Orisa and a Rhine shield. This is very quickly, it's just super easy that everyone should know. An Orisa shield is highly vulnerable to burst damage. So huge chunks of burst damage, however, it is not for small poke damage. And that's because, of course, she has a cooldown. She drops her shield, you break that, she drop a new one, and then if you break that fast enough, her shield will be on cooldown. Then there's a big opening where your snipers or whatever and everyone can generally just shoot freely at the enemy team, and the enemy team is pushed back, have to hide behind walls, their healers get low, it's very easy to get picks that way. However, if you just break it very slowly, then she will continuously be able to drop a new shield all the time. Now that's the difference between her and Reinhardt, because Reinhardt has to drop a shield no matter what. As long as you deal damage to it, he will eventually have to drop it to recharge it. Then there is a big opening right there. So just keep that in mind when you see an Orisa and when you see an Reinhardt, what the differences between those two are. Now, I'm not going to go too much in how your team should play, because it's very hard for a lot of us to coordinate our teams in something like a competitive match. If you want a more like how your team should move and what your team exactly should do, drop it down in the comments and I'll make another video talking just about that. Then I'm going to talk about more the hero picks and what you can do to make sure that your team will win, because you are the defining factor in those matches. So what should you do? Well, there are a couple of heroes that if you can play these and you can to a certain extent communicate just a little bit with the team, it should be pretty easy. Or if you do queuing, this is pretty easy to do. Now, I'm not going to take dive comp into consideration, because again that requires a lot of coordinations, or at least some coordination, which you won't find in a lot of competitive matches. So Death Ball it is. Now you can play something like D.Va. Now D.Va's strength is that she's very good against the Torbjorn. She can kill the turret anywhere, and she can also pretty easily 1v1 a Torbjorn. She's very good against Bastion, the fact that she can peel her team close to the Bastion. She's also pretty good in general against the Rhine/Orisa shield. She applies a lot of pressures to it. And of course she's good against something like Orisa. She's good against a lot of the tanks. Very good at melting those. She can absorb most damage from Junkrats, and she's very good at just removing in general Symmetra turrets. And she can also, if you're good with her, 1v1 the Symmetra. This is not that she's overall good against everything, so having a D.Va is a huge advantage, especially if the map has some kind of high ground control. They might put a turret on the high ground. It can be real nice to grab that D.Va. And especially against some cheese comps, it's very smart that you might pick that D.Va and the Hog and the Reinhardt, right? Run a triple tank setup if they run something like a Torbjorn, not if they run the Bastion, even though you still can do that, but especially against a lot of these cheesecom, triple tank is very strong, so that's something that you might want to look into. The next hero is also tank, it's Hog, and Roadhog is good just because you can remove all barriers. You can hook Bastion, you can destroy turrets as long as they're not too much in high ground. You can in general deal with most of the DPSs. He's really bad against Symmetra turrets, he cannot remove those, so then you want someone that can do that for you. But you can deal with most else, and it's very nice to have a Hog in general, just because you can remove most barriers. You have the burst damage, as I talked about, against an Orisa shield, so picking a Hog, or having a Hog on the team, can be very nice just so you have someone to shred those barriers. In general, he's overall good against stuff like Bastion, a little bit against the Torbjorn, even though D.Va is better for that. And of course, he can hook and kill most DPSs without too much effort. Then we take a look at Junkrat, and this goes both for offensive and defensive. So if you're going up against something like the Pirate Ship, or you're going up against something like you're attacking first point on Lunar Colony, Junkrat's generally good just because he can spam. Turrets go down, shields go down, especially if you also have that hog, and that removes the Bastion. You can remove the Torbjorn, the Torbjorn turret, you remove shields. In general, you remove everything. The junk spam is good against almost any hero. It can also work pretty nicely against the Killgate, but a lot of time you want someone else like that D.Va or a Winston or someone to remove the turrets for you. In general, he's good. On top of that, Junkrat is in general really OP right now, so you know the ult can in general wipe anyone from that. You can just nuke a teleporter or nuke the Symmetra, do whatever really you want. And it's really nice, especially against someone like Torbjorn Bastion, which you will meet. Remove the barriers, and the Bastion will not be able to set up. The Torbjorn turret will disappear really quickly. But what happens if you can't remove the barriers for some reason? Well, then Pharah is an excellent pick, especially against someone like Torbjorn. A little bit less against Bastion, but especially against Torbjorn, you can normally fly over the shields and hit the turret, especially on a Horizon where the Torbjorns might set up their turret far back, fly over, just bomb the turret. He will never have a turret set up. Good against Metro, good against Junkrat, little bit weak against someone like a Bastion, but can definitely work if you manage to keep the range and you're pretty decent at aiming. And of course, her ultimate, if you can manage to flank with it, can wipe almost anyone off that map. So in general, Pharah is also really good against this, and she can also help break some of those barriers, and if it's something like a Reinhardt, you can easily put him out of position. Someone that a lot of people don't think about is, of course, Sombra. Sombra really strong because of the fact that you can build an EMP, and cheese comes a lot of time build very close, right? If you think first point Horizon, a lot of time everyone stands on the points. And therefore just coming in there and EMPing them makes all the turrets useless, makes all their ultimates useless. And it's a pretty easy team where I remove all barriers, all shields, everything. Pretty easy for you guys to do. Now, a lot of people will, of course, like to pick snipers because people like to pick snipers, and I see a lot of those against cheese comps. Now, if you're a sniper player like I do, I play a lot of hands on my alt account, I play a lot of Widowmaker. It's very smart for you to understand the fact that if you don't have anyone to remove a lot of these barriers, it can be very hard to play them. Personally, I believe that someone like Hanzo is better than Widowmaker in a lot of the situation against Cheesecom because you have Scatter, you can one-tap an Orisa, you can remove Torbjorn, you can remove his turret. In general, I believe that, but Widowmaker is not bad itself, but just notice that you need someone to remove those shields for you so you can land pretty good shots. Well guys, I hope you do. I hope this helped you understand a little bit how to do that. If you liked, then like and dislike. If you don't, drop down in the comments what you want to see. If you have any requests, or you can do up onto our Discord server and drop those into requests, and I'll probably add them to our to-do list there, and then they will be done as fast as I can. Besides that guys, if you like what I do on the channel, then subscribe to it. And come to see the Twitch channel if you want to have some private conversation with me. If you want to see me help you, I can do that best on the Twitch instead of you guys sending me DMs or Discord, which I will not proper response to because I get a lot of them. Rather talk to me when I stream. Link to my Twitch in the description, and there's also a schedule tab in my description of my Twitch where there's times when I stream. So I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, guys, my name has been Jonal. Stay positive, guys, and keep the enemy in your crosshair.